Well, good morning, my Teaserking family. I hope everybody's feeling better today. So we can explain what happened again, which is fine. We enjoy teaching. That's the point of the class. Um, so the good news is all right, we're after the 10 o'clock fix. So we're at the 10 o'clock fix. Silver's back to 88.24 and gold's back to 49.36. Now we're not all the way back, but it did show the bounce up. So this had went back down to 76. So it went from 120 to 76 and now back to 88 on its way back to 120. This is up $300, which I don't get. It wasn't 46, but this went from 5,600 down to 4,600, I believe. And now it's back to 49 on our way back. We should get 5,000 today, and this should get back to 90. So what happened? Well, as I've been teaching, the banks, for some reason, short gold and silver, the most active things in a paper market to make money on options. So when they shorted gold at silver, let's say 120, they bought it back at 79. They made a lot of money. Okay. The paper and the physical market should be separate. There should be two different markets. So in the physical world, if I'm paying $100 for this bottle of Canadian Club because it's 12 years old, you can't have a paper market over here selling it for $5 and take it seriously. You either mark something physically and that's the price, or you don't. You can't have a paper option price. You have one price. You have a physical price. As long as we have physical gold and silver, the price should be set in physical. This whole paper thing is ridiculous. 1 second. So it's really ridiculous, the system that's set up. I've never seen it before where you basically have a physical item and then you put options on the physical item to lower the price. It's totally illegal. It's totally Madoff. It's not what Madoff did. Madoff just he didn't make any buys or sells. He never bought a stock and he just was getting money in. He said, okay, here's 15%. He made a boatload. And it was the total Ponzi scheme, which I think was more realistic than what this Ponzi scheme that's going on here. At least Madoff really didn't screw anybody, and he'd pay you 13, 15%, right? You got 100 grand in with him, you're getting 15% a year on him. And he paid you for 20 years. This, you're getting basically just pulled out. They're taking advantage of you not knowing what you're doing. And from what I heard on some YouTubes, I have a silver dealer come on. Everybody was there selling. Everybody was selling their silver. Everybody was selling their silver. Why? Because they didn't know. They think it's crashing. Why? Why is it crashing? Highly in demand, no supply. Why would it crash? It's man-made, and so the banks can get out of their option positions. So if they sold at 110 and they bought at 77, right? It hit the bottom and then it started coming back up. Well, imagine if they're in at 50 It's not going to 30. You're not going to make your short. And that's what they've been doing. So as it's been going up the ladder, 50, they want to get back to 30. But BRICS said, no, we need the gold. So the price kept going up because of China and Russia and India and the BRICS countries. And as it kept going up, they got underwater. And so here, for some reason, they bought a bunch, I guess, at 85, hoping it goes down to 75, because that's where it was Christmas, only it went to 120. And now the banks are all going to go out of business because they owe billions of dollars and they're shorting. So when they say the banks made money, they didn't make money. They just didn't lose money, right? So the banks come out of it not losing anything. Do we even care? No, I don't care. As long as give me my fair price to buy gold and silver, which we're not at. The prices I just showed you, $89 silver, 4,900 gold, is not even close to the real prices. But we know that. We're waiting for the real prices. And I was watching our favorite Andy Schectman. What an idiot he is. When people wake up, there won't be any gold to buy or it'll be too expensive. I've been saying that for 5 years. He's just coming to the realization. I love that. Well, that's what I've been shouting. Buy physical, buy physical, buy physical. Here I got people buying Bitcoin. I can't help you if you want to go off on your own into something we don't talk about. I've already told you it's a Ponzi scheme. So if you want to ignore me and still play it, go play it, but I can't help you. It has no value. It's not real. I don't know what to tell you. I'd get out and profit take and get into real physical gold and silver before you can't. As I said at my guy's store, he's not had gold in a while. He's had a little 1 ounce gold bars from like Costco, and that's been it. But he hasn't had much. He still has the bullion silver, as I showed you yesterday. So he had that. So, yeah, I mean, this was a very strong buying opportunity. As you can see, if you could have got it at 79, now it's already back to 89. And I'd say by the end of the week, it'll be in the 90s, maybe 100. It'll get back to that 120 and it'll go far greater. We're expecting 150 to 200. And in the gold market, we're expecting 8,000 by the summertime. And I don't see any reason that wouldn't be. All this was a paper market play, which we don't care about because we're not stupid enough to play ETFs or play options. We're not idiots. So we don't do that. Right? So if we don't play options and we don't do that, then that's the point. So our goal is physical. Just a second. I had to take my hamburgers out of the fridge and I'm going to cook them after. So we just play the physical game. You can't lose. There's no margin calls. We can go to the store and we can give it to him and he'll give us pretty much spot, real close to spot. And that's where we're at with it. It's physical gold and silver is the most limited things you can buy. Gold's more limited than silver, but it's still there. Just a second. Just a second. All right, so we're in the most limited thing you can be in, gold and silver physical. So what's happening? It all comes back to the dollar being worthless, right? The dollar has no value. And if the dollar has no value, you can either see, but you don't, most people don't realize it has no value. So as you start realizing this and this have no value, and this will happen in Europe and Britain and everywhere, you have to get out of it because it's worthless. And that's the key you have to understand. Very confusing, Jenna. Hey, Nick, would be great if we could break 5K today. We will. We're at 49 something. Anyway, so Jenna on WhatsApp changes her number. So I tried texting her, and the picture was gone, everything was gone. And I'm like, did she block me? Well, she didn't really block me. She just got off with the old number, and now she's got a new number. And she just texted me, here I am. And I'm like, why didn't you tell me you changed numbers? I mean, I thought you blocked me or something because I'm sitting there not being able to talk to her. And so now she's like, well, you know, I said, why didn't you tell me? She says, well, you know, because she was going to, apparently she contacted me to say that. So I'm like, okay, fine. Whatever. I mean, she's confusing, but you know, it's frustrating when you think you got blocked, but I didn't. She just changed numbers. So that explains a lot. When all of a sudden the people aren't there, it's because they've changed their number. All right, enough said. So anyway. Now I know what happened. So if you're ever on WhatsApp and the person you're contacting you, it doesn't double check and their picture's gone when you go into their chat, they pretty much have, they didn't block you, they just changed the phone. So anyway, I thought it was odd she would block me. It didn't make sense. But yeah, Nick, it'll get to 5,000 very soon. There's a lot of buying that goes on. So again, what happens because the dollar is worthless, you have really only one option, but most people don't understand that. Yeah, you can get into gold and silver, physical, which you should. Some people get into ETFs, which they shouldn't, but they don't know. Some people get into gold and silver stocks, which they don't know. And some people, um, and some people um, get in the stock market or they get in the real estate trust, like our friend on Attack from Wall Street. And some people get into, you know, real estate. I don't know why real estate. Some people gamble to you know make money. Yeah, so there's all different ways. The best way is gold and silver. That's what I try to teach you is gold and silver is the best because it's physical and you can't print it or inflate it. So there's very little supply, which is the best thing. High demand, which all of BRICS demands gold and silver, and now the U.S. needs gold and silver, but low supply. There isn't a lot there. They can't just make it. They have to dig it out of the ground, and it's been being dug out for years. So it's not like there's a lot left. Anyway, so that's what's happening. Kurt, Professor, gold and silver are going up, but now the prices are getting down. Well, it's 10 o'clock. They always drop at 10 o'clock. They'll go back up, but they did go up a lot. So, you know, you've got to understand there's 10 o'clock fixes that the U.S. does, but then by 11, they go back up. I see gold still 4,900. I mean, you can't look at it every minute. These are options, right? So it's 88.27. That's about where it was, and 49.26. So yeah, you get a little 10 o'clock drop right there. It's going through now, but 49.26. And that was 87 back to 88.26. So you can't watch it every minute and try to look at it. It's a physical thing. I own this. That's what's important. These numbers go up and down, but at the end of the day, these numbers are irrelevant because these are paper numbers anyway. So you can't worry about it. What's going to happen is it's going to be extremely hard to find the physical. And China, like I said, BRICS has gone to a gold-backed currency. So they need gold. They need a higher gold price. You can't worry about it. You just worry that you have it. The most important thing is I have this. I bought it at 30, which made it 60 because it's 2 ounces. Now it said, let's say 90, it's worth 180. I don't care. I'm not looking to sell it. I'm looking to accumulate it. The more I have, the better I eat, the better I feel, the more comfortable I am. I'm fine. So that's the point. So anyway, that's what we're doing. Nick, on a football note, okay, I'm confident the Seahawks will be able to get it done. Just nervous about my underplay. These Super Bowls are sometimes unpredictable. Well, let's go to the theory of this. Let me read Kurt's. Professor, I am a law graduate from India. Can you help me in getting study visa in USA? I don't see how. I don't know how that works. I know there's a lot of Indians here. I can ask them how they got their visa, but I don't really know. You probably need to talk to an attorney. I had a girlfriend from Romania who wanted to come here and work, and they said she needed a work visa, which she couldn't get. She either had to marry me, and as a wife, she could come in and get her thing and get her green card, or somebody like Microsoft or Apple would have to hire her to give her the visa. But I don't know that you can apply for one. I think the best thing you can do is just apply for a travel visa and then come here and then start looking for what you're asking for. Get a study visa. I mean, you'd probably have to contact a college and see if there's some internship that they can allow. I know it's crazy now. It's tough with the wars and everything else. But that would be your best play, is to contact colleges who could bring you there to sponsor you for a student visa. There are student visas, but I don't know what you have to do for it. Anyway, Nick, the reason I like the under in the game, Seattle's got a great defense. All right. They held the Niners to 3 points and 6 points. You got to realize the Niners were on a 30, they were scoring 30, 40 points a game. That Bear game, they put up 43 points on the Bears. Then they go to Seattle, it's 6. In the first game, they had Kittle. The second game, they lost Kittle. Got hurt in the Philadelphia game. Even then, they put up 23 on Philadelphia. So that was a big thing, right? To keep them to 6 points. Seattle's defense is too good. Now, the other thing is they're going to run Kenneth Walker a lot to stop Darnold from choking. And that's the key. So that'll be what's going on there. So with them running the ball more, in New England, Drake May showed me nothing in the Denver game. And, you can blame the weather, but that was snow in the second half isn't weather. It was a little bit cold, and it was low scoring because of the Denver defense. And the same thing with the Houston defense. So it's not like you can blame the snow for him not being bad. CJ Stroud, he sucks. And then you had the backup quarterback for Denver. So it was a low scoring game, both of them. How about the San Diego game? They only scored 16 in that one. So they're not scoring a lot. And here you get Seattle's defense, which is better. It's as good as Houston's. And that's the key to it. So Seattle, they're not going to get a lot. Drake May is not a very good quarterback. He runs, but he's not a good quarterback. He's got no receivers but Boutte, our LSU guy. And that's what you have. So it's really not a problem. So anyway, that's the point. You're looking at Seattle's defense, which is very strong, and you're looking at New England's defense, which is very strong. So the first question you ask is, well, how are they going to score a lot? They don't have Stafford and Puka. That's a big difference, right? That's why the Rams could score a lot. New England doesn't have that. Keep in mind, New England, they scored a lot on Buffalo, who has no defense, and the Jets in Miami. But they didn't really play good teams all year until these playoff games. And but 7 was a pick six. So you can't count on that. Well, maybe from there you can count on 2 picks, but you hope they're at the other side of the field. I just think it'll be lower scoring. Yeah, and that's the key to it. So keep that in mind. You do have low scoring. You have low scoring defenses. You don't have good quarterbacks. Darnold's not all that. And take the Niner game. Seattle against the Niners was 41-6. That was kind of an implosion. But even there is 47. All right, that was unusual for them to score 41. The first game was 13-3, the first one. And then last week, it was high scoring because you played the Rams. You don't have the defense. So New England's got a very good defense. I redid it. They have a 9 defense. But again, they didn't play anybody with an offense. They played the Jets with their backup quarterback, Miami with their backup quarterback, and San Diego with Herbert and C.J. Stroud, and Denver with their backup. That's why it's a 9. But probably about an 18. It's going to be hard to score. What are we at? 46, under 52. That's 28-24. I don't see that. I see maybe one team getting 20, but I don't see both getting 20. So if Darnold doesn't choke too bad, we got Kenneth Walker running the ball. We've got Smith Najimba, who I still don't know how good he is, but okay. Again, this is a league where you can't really guard the people. So that's basically what you have. And so keep that in mind. You have all that, and you have all that, and then it's different. So there shouldn't be a lot of points in this game. The Bears and the Rams would have been higher had there been better weather. I've yet to see weather. I did check the weather here. And, okay, we got it. The weather for the game, 63 and 4-mile-an-hour winds, slight chance of rain. And the fourth quarter goes down to 56, a chilly 56, 3 miles slight. So you're not getting rain, you're not getting wind. So we don't have any of that to worry about, which would have been helpful for the defense. When we look at the line, four and a half, 45 and a half. So the line hasn't moved. I mean, basically, you just have Seattle. Seattle, to me, is the better team because, all right, look at their last 5 games, 2 Niner games, 2 Ram games. They won them all. So I wouldn't think they're hardened and tested. And then when they needed to win for the 1 seed, they won. So here they're 4.5 everywhere, and the total 45.5 everywhere. So we're not really, we're not seeing it, but my line Seattle -7. That's kind of how I viewed it. Now, the other day I did a video and I showed Attack on Wall Street guy, even though it was a video on my phone, it let most of it go through except for the ending. And then it kind of blocked the ending. But the video was fine. I didn't get a strike. And you could see the whole 2 hours of my video. So I won't redo it. I had kind of left a summary in case you couldn't get into it. But anyway, that's what's happening. So keep that in mind. I mean, again, Nick, we have to pick the game now. We see 2 good defenses. an 18 and a 13, right? What do I got? 16 and a 13. And, again, the only time they got lit up was Stafford lit them up, but that's what you expect with Stafford and Pukanuka. But you're not seeing that. You're seeing Drake May and Boutte. Henderson, they're going to try to run. It'll be hard for Seattle to run, but they'll run with Walker and Darnold. They'll have to run because they can't rely on Darnell. And I think it'll be a low-scoring game. If Darnold doesn't fall apart completely, Seattle's the better team. New England hasn't played anybody. Normally, you got to get there and lose before you get there and win. That's always been the pattern, right? The Steelers lost to Miami in the undefeated year, and then they came on. And they also got Lynn Swann and John Stallworth. But, then you win. Dallas had to lose to Baltimore, and then they won. Minnesota, well, they kept losing. And Buffalo, they kept losing, and they never won because they never had running attacks. And Minnesota's defense was a pass defense. You needed a run defense. And Buffalo, their defense wasn't that good. They had the running, but they got off kilter. They did what the other team who passed it all the time. Buffalo, when they played the Giants, needed to run the ball more and not try to score 40 points. That's why they lost. In some other games, you need to run more. There was a game I was thinking, but I can't think of it now, where they got away and they kept throwing the ball and throwing the ball and throwing the ball, and that's why they lost. They needed to balance. But my score is 30-10. I mean, beating the Rams and beating the Niners, I think, and beating them both twice, I think, well, the first time the Rams actually won, but that was a bad call. But Seattle beating them, I think, I don't know if it gets the monkey off their back, but I think Darnell will not turn it over as much. So Drake May, we don't know. He doesn't have the receivers. Seattle, we're really betting Seattle's defense here. Very strong defense. And they got a little more weapons than New England does. And Drake May is certainly not ready to go to the dance. So that's where it's at. So what are you going to do? If we're going to play a teaser, we got to pick a side and pick a total. Well, the under is obvious. That it's way too high at 46. Go down to 52. The biggest problem people have is they don't realize the total. Against the Niners, it was 13-3 the first game, right? And then against the Rams, you're playing a whole different. You're playing Stafford and Nuka. You're not holding them to 10 points. So then when you make your average, you're going, well, let's make it 46. That's ridiculous. This is not a 46 game. It's certainly not a 52 game. You're gonna be in the 30s or 40s is it. You're not getting a lot of points unless Darnold and May throw a bunch of pick sixes or they fumble at the goal line or punt returns. But the normal scope of running the ball, passing, playing offensive defense shouldn't be a problem. So, Kurt, I don't know how to help you. I would apply to college or ask around, but I can't. I can't really help you there. John C. Hi, John C. What's new? Well, gold and silver bounced back quite a bit. Not all the way back, but silver's like 88 and gold's back to 4,900. So we're feeling a lot better, mostly because we know we have a bottom now. We saw it. We took the worst of it and went down into the silver went down to 79. The gold went down to 4,300, but now everything's back. And that's the point. It's everything. We saw the bottom. And the banks had 2 days to clean out. The banks are done cleaning out. They don't want it down. They want it up. They're all in there long. You've had all the margin calls, which made the price go down so the banks could get out of their derivatives. Okay, they did it. The banks in the derivatives at 88, they shorted it and got out at 79 or 4,900. They got out at 4,400. So that's fine because that was the derivative. Okay, but that's clean now. Now the banks are all long and now they want the price to go up. Right? They're done with it going down. They got it down as far as they could. Now it comes up. Why they're doing shorts, I don't know. I guess they make a lot of money in it, but they don't understand the market and bricks, and they're just buying the shit out of it. So we have the gold backed currencies, which should really jump gold to 8,000 as we think, and silver to 1,000. Yeah, well, let's get silver to 200 to 500 to 1,000. But that's where it's going. Very limited supply, which means there isn't a lot, but the demand's huge. And so they're going to pay me a pretty penny if they want this. And I mean, it's going to be 3 zeros after it, not 2. But that's where it's at. So it's pretty much shaken out. They had to do it on last Friday because that was the day the mark-to-market hits. We'll probably see it again the end of February, every end of the day. And then we'll see that. But now it's, we need it, and here it goes. It's a precious metal in the U.S. Trump made it a strategic asset, whatever that means. So there's the demand's huge. Everybody needs silver. So in the physical world we live in, it's way, way undervalued. In the paper world we live in, we've hopefully cleaned out all the shortage, and a lot of people got burnt because they had to do margins. But that's their own fault. If you're stupid enough to do a margin and you don't understand it, you got what you deserve. That's why we don't do margins. We do physical. So everything should be good. Thanks, T. Great job you do. Thank you, John C. You're learning. You're getting a master's, a real master's education. I hear some guys, well, it's like a master's class. We're doing 8 hours. It's like a master's class. No, you have to have the skill, and you have to have the master's degree to give a master's class. You can't talk for 6 hours on a subject and say it's a master's level class unless it's a master's level class. TKJSN is good, TK, and Cooper Cup is okay. Cooper Cup I like. Smith and Jimma, I don't know. We'll see. He wasn't that good at Ohio State, and he hasn't been that good at Seattle. He's had a few good games this year, so we'll see. We'll see if he chokes in the big one or not. I thought Marvin Harrison was going to be good. He dropped too many passes. TK Darnell is playing okay. Key is he can't turn the ball over. Is the Rams D that bad? The Rams D was a 26. Yeah, it was that bad. It was good in the beginning. But if you look at their games, they gave up 35 to the Lions. They gave up 40 to Seattle twice now. They had given up a lot of points in a few other games. So, yeah, it was that. It was pretty bad. They fired their well, I think he fired the defensive coordinator or whatever. But, yeah, the Rams defense was terrible. Well, look at the first game. The Rams played Carolina and Steve Young, and it was 34-31. And then it would have been high scoring against the Bears, but it was 0 degrees out. So, yeah, we saw the end of the Bears game where the guy catches it and the cornerback is, for some reason, isn't with the guy to knock it down. I didn't understand that kind of defense. But, yeah, the Rams defense wasn't great. They didn't pressure him. Again, remember, if you pressure up the middle, Darnold falls apart. And I'm sure New England knows that, and I'm sure they'll try to do it. The key is running Walker. If you can hand the ball to Walker and make gains, you can't blitz him up the middle as much, and that's kind of what happened. So anyway, that's kind of what I see. But again, we know what we saw with Darnell last year. It doesn't just go away. We know we saw him the first 8 years, and he sucked. So it's not like, in the regular season, you're not playing that many good games, right? They lost to the Rams 21-19. He threw 4 picks. Okay, in the first game. In the second game, they got the bullshit call. Look at the throw. It was batted down, incomplete. That's what the call should have been, incomplete pass. So in the clutch moments, he didn't come through in that second Ram game. He got a miracle call that was bullshit. So that's all I'm saying. The advantageous of him running the ball, but he's going to be shitting in his pants because it's the Super Bowl, and he's just not Joe Montana, and he's not Bart Starr, and he's not, well, Terry Bradshaw sucked, but he's not Tom Brady. He's not, he's more of a Peyton Manning who was good, but he choked. This guy is okay. Peyton Manning played for 4 years at Tennessee, and all 4 years he lost to Florida in the big game. All 4 years. They never won the SEC with Peyton Manning. He was a joke. So it never really went away. He lost most of the time to Brady. And in the one playoff game, he choked a lot. The only Super Bowl he won was when he was played the Bears with Rex Grossman. And then the other one he won was all defense. He couldn't even complete the passes. So he's a lot he's not as good as Peyton Manning, but he's got the chokeability of it. So don't be surprised he starts choking a little bit because that's who he is. He's not Joe Montana, so don't think he is. He's more Steve Young, who, he seems okay now, but he's sucked for years. So you don't just suck and then stop sucking. So we got to be careful with Darnell. If it wasn't because there's only one game, my teaser would be the under locked with another game, not with the over. But I got to play the two teams. John C. TK, Darnold is playing on key. Okay. Key is you can't turn the ball over. Okay. John C. TK, Raiders are getting Clint Kubiak as head coach. Who's that? Right. I know he's the offensive coordinator for Seattle. Oh, what? All right. You're going to draft Mendoza instead of Reuben Bain with the first pick. Big mistake. Now, I pulled Mendoza's stats out last year, not this year, where he won with Indiana. Last year with California. 16 touchdowns, 6 picks. That's all he did. So that's the point of it. 16 and 6. So you gotta remember that. Keep that in mind. So that's the key. So is he all that? Well, if you have a good running attack and a good defense, the quarterback looks better. Is he the number one? No, Dagiopava is the best quarterback. He might be 5'9" and 180 and have some attitude or whatever these radio guys want to say, but he beat Alabama. And so 5'9", 180 apparently can beat Alabama. He killed Tennessee in his last game, who was a very good team this year. He should have beat Texas. He lost by 3. At what point did it matter that he was 5'9", 180? I don't understand. I don't understand why you throw that out there like it matters. Warren Moon was probably 5'9". Drew Brees, probably 5'9", 5'10". What are you talking about? It doesn't matter. You don't have to be taller than the lineman. You see through lanes. So the size doesn't matter. He's got a big arm. He can run. What are you talking about? So these guys who make up story, he's got a bad attitude. Based on what? He's fine on Vanderbilt. Didn't have an attitude there. As he was beating Tennessee and Alabama, he seemed fine there. So he won at New Mexico State. I mean, that's all you can say. So he's the best quarterback. So Oakland, Kubiak's never coached before. Just because his father was a coach doesn't make him a coach. I'm sure he'll be lost out there. The Raiders will still suck next year. Mendoza won't do anything. I mean, you need a line. You've got the running back, but I was looking at the running back stats, and Gentry only got like 900 yards last year. Brock Bowers. So you got Brock Bowers and Gentry, which is good. I mean, you've got good, but you don't need that. You need Ruben Bain and some more defense. I don't know what Max Crosby's if he's going to play or not. I would probably trade him and get a first round pick. So I'd get Ruben Bain, and then I'd get this other good Miami or Ohio State or Texas Tech defense and build my defense, because that's really what you need to do. Not that Geno Smith's any good, but you can, again, and then start drafting some offensive linemen, which I know you did last year, but you got to keep doing that. And that's really the key. Anyway, so that's the thing. I don't know if Kubiak's going to do anything or not. Super Bowl. So what are we looking at? Okay, when New England has the ball, they're going to be able to move it. They didn't move it much against Houston. They got 5 turnovers. So if Seattle stays away from turnovers, they'll win easy. Seattle, again, they beat the Rams with Stafford and Puka playing, and pretty much full. And they beat Seattle, and they beat the Niners, who were injured. But they still scored 41 on them. They only put up 13. So they're scoring well. They're coming in playing well. Their offense is good. Kenneth Walker's running great, even though they lost Charbonnet. Their receiver is good. So all that's good. And that's the key to it. So that's still what matters. So they're coming in playing very well. The reason the Colts lost to the Jets was the Jets had a great defense, and Baltimore didn't have a quarterback. Earl Morrow. I heard a stat on Earl Morrow yesterday. In 16 years, he played for 14 different teams. Guy wasn't any good. So you don't have that. You have Darnold, who is not great. We know he's not great. But you have the runner, you have the receiver, and you have the defense. We're really betting the defense here. The head coach, he's a defensive guy. I don't know. Kubiak, all right. How good is he on offense? I don't know. Is he going to do anything for the Raiders? I doubt it. There's a big difference being the offensive coordinator and being the head coach. As we see from Dan Campbell, he's a lousy head coach, and he's even a worse offensive coordinator. But he won because he had a good offensive coordinator. And Ben Johnson, I don't know how good a head coach he is, but he's a good offensive coordinator. So he's his own offensive coordinator. So we'll see what Kubiak does. I'm not expecting anything because he's never been. It's all because of his dad, so he learned some offense from his dad. So when New England has the ball, what are we expecting from Drake May? He's going to try to run. Look for Carolina to blitz the shit out of them, or Carolina. Look for Seattle to blitz the shit out of them. The running backs won't do much, and his only option is Boutte. So I don't see a lot from New England. They didn't do anything against Denver and bullshit the snow. That wasn't a problem. Okay, it was 10 degrees there, so it was cold, but it was the same weather they got against Houston, where they got some points. It took a miracle catch by Boutte for him to throw the touchdown against Houston. So Seattle's defense, very aggressive. We'll blitz them a lot. We'll sack them a lot. It'll be tough to run on them. It'll be tough to move on them. The way you beat them was the Rams throwing the ball. They couldn't stop the Rams because you had Stafford and Puka and Devontae Adams. Rams really didn't run a lot on them, but they passed all over them. Drake May cannot do that. So the weakness of Seattle with their defense is obviously Drake May throwing the ball, but he's not a good quarterback. He wants to run too much. So will you hurt Seattle with the passing? I don't think so. But we don't really know because we haven't seen Seattle, except for the Jets in Miami. I mean, if we look at Seattle, they put up 16 points on San Diego, who has a pretty good defense. And they then put up New England again. They put up 28 on Houston, but 7 was a pick six. You got a lot of turnovers. It was a little bit more running. He ran for a touchdown. He runs too much. All right. And then last week, obviously, a 10-7 game with Denver, which was a joke because they scored on a bad call where the pass was backwards, where it was forward and not backwards. It reminded me of the Banks. The guy throws it forward, the defensive guy hits it back, and then everybody covers it up and says, yeah, look, it was a backward pass. Where it wasn't. But to go and quote you guys who think everything's fixed, they'd rather have Drake May in the Super Bowl than Stidham. That I agree with. Who wants to see us, it's Stidham against Darnold. But now they can promote Drake May as a possible MVP candidate. Let's tune in for that. So, yes, that's where I will agree that. That's why that play was stood, and that was their one touchdown, a whole 8-yard drive by Drake May. I'm surprised they didn't let the guy go in for a touchdown. But he ran it in. He can't throw. He didn't throw against Denver. Nothing happened. And it wasn't that cold that he couldn't throw the ball. Even in the Ram game, it was 20-17. In 0-degree weather, they were still able to throw the ball. That's one game I thought the Rams needed to run more because of the weather. But so I'm not seeing against these better teams that Drake May is going to beat them passing. So I don't believe he's going to beat Seattle passing. Seattle's a tough defense. Like I say, all right, 3 points on Frisco for the 1 seed. Kittle was playing. Then you gave up 6 points in the first round to San Francisco again. And then obviously Stafford and Nuka, but it's a totally different thing. So their weak point is a very good passer. If they were playing, I want to say Jim Kelly. If they were playing Josh Allen, I would definitely play this game over. Right. So the key is the quarterback and the offense dictates if you play over under, even though they got a good defense. But you saw against the Rams, they gave up 35 points twice. So if they were playing Josh Allen, this would be an over game. This would be a lock over. Okay. I don't even know if I'd tease it. I'd go over 46. I mean, you'd be in the 30s, but Drake May doesn't scare you. They don't have the offense. They don't have the receivers, except for Boutte, Bobby, your LSU guy. And the running backs don't scare you. And they play a pretty good defense. So when Seattle's got the ball, look for Kenneth Walker a lot. Look for Smith Najima to hopefully not play like he did at Ohio State, which I never heard of the guy. Olave was their prime receiver at Ohio State. And so you have that. So Seattle, they're going to kick a lot of field goals, I think. I think they can move the ball, but it's not going to be like the Ram game. And then it becomes turnovers. How many turnovers does each quarterback have? I'd say Drake May 2. He'll fumble or throw a pick. And then Darnold 2. So you give four turnovers. The key is where are they? If they're at their own 10 or the other team's 10. So anyway, that's where it's at. So that's where I got the game. New England Seattle 30-10. I just think Kenneth Walker is the difference in the game. New England, pretty good defense. So I think the 40 is high. It might be 23-10 or 23-13. Could be closer. I would still take Seattle to win, and I would still play it under, I think, for sure. So my point of interest would be Darnold not choking, which you know, we can't forget what he did last year and just say, oh, that went away. We can't forget, the Lion game. So if New England can blitz them, he'll turn into Darnold the choke. But the key is he can run Kenneth Walker. to keep the pressure from coming. So that's the key. That's the neutralizer. Will it come down to a real close field goal at the end? I think it might be where Seattle has a 10-point lead and New England makes it 3. And then, there's a little bit of drama because NBC wants some drama in it. And they'll call all the personal fouls and face masking bullshit. They'll keep it close to keep you watching because it's the Super Bowl. Let's put it that way. But Seattle definitely is the better team here. They're the better team. I don't know if they have the better coach because I like Vrabel. I don't know that they have the better quarterback because we don't know what Drake May is at this point. We know Darnold's a choke, but he didn't choke against the Rams, which is shocking. Again, the Rams lost because they fumbled the punt. If they had a sane punt returner back there and the coach pulled his head out of his ass watching him fumble the first punt and got him out of there, I don't know why he was back there. It was just going to fair catch it. So if he doesn't fall down and fumble, it's the Rams and New England, and we'd bet a fortune on the Rams. But that's the problem. So that, maybe it's 23-13. I don't know. Somewhere there. It's still going to be low scoring. Okay. No real injuries. Apparently Drake May hurt his shoulder in the Denver game, which not saying to anybody, but I saw that in the injury list that they asked him, "How's your shoulder?" It's okay. So he's injured. He hurt his shoulder probably badly against Denver. He winced. Apparently, I didn't know if I saw it, but so he is injured, Drake May. Now he'll still run and he'll be on energy and all that, but keep that in mind. The oblique of Darnold, I'm not where he played 2 games with the oblique and he's fine. That's not going to be an issue. So, I mean, that's what we're looking at. We're looking at probably boring, low-scoring Super Bowl. Seattle's defense take over New England. Very good defense. It'll be hard to score. There'll be a lot of field goals. I don't play props because it's stupid. You're not getting the right odds or anything. All right, so let's look at casinos now. Why do we go to casino? Well, we think we can make money. So everything revolves about us making money, right? Why are we in gold? Because the money that we're in is worthless. So we get into money that has value, which is that. That's all we care about. We don't get into it options. We don't get into margin calls. So all this facade we've been seeing is paper options. And that's what they're very risky. You got to be an idiot to get into them in the first place. I'll make money. You'll make more money if you're into gold and silver if you just let it happen and let it go. That's what you've got to realize. You're going to make more money there. Why do we want to make more money? So we go to a job, we make money, we have money left over. May is overrated. Kraft. Okay, I got to get back here. So John C. Kraft is not going into the Hall of Fame. Do you think Eli Manning is a Hall? No, Eli Manning is not. I don't think Peyton Manning was either. May is overrated. Well, we don't know what May is yet. We haven't seen him in a big game win it. Okay, they beat Houston, but CJ Stroud threw 5 picks. That's not really Drake May winning the game. Last week, it was pathetic against Denver. So we don't know. Their schedule was terrible, so they didn't really play anybody good. So that's it. Are the slot machines rigged, TK? Of course. All these things, all these AI things are rigged. You must understand that. So the slot machine's always been rigged. It pays out like 95% of the time. I mean, that's about A slot machine is about the same as Bitcoin. I'm just going to call it Bit because there's no coin in Bitcoin. There's no gold in Bitcoin. Let's just call it Bit. Bit goes up and down. You don't know why. On the other hand, a slot machine, you put your money in, and 95 times out of 100, you're going to lose. And that's the way it's programmed. Anytime you're dealing with a program machine, you're in trouble. And that's what Vegas is turning into, a bunch of program machines, right? They're turning into, no dealers and digital blackjack and digital craps. I mean, so you're not even throwing the dice, I don't think. I think you're just pushing a button and the dice come out, whatever they come out. Those are very dangerous. You want to gamble. I can throw the dice for a half hour. I'm betting on myself. The dice are real. They're not fixed. And it's going to be whatever I throw, not this digital. Anything to do with computerized, run away from, because you're not going to win because of the programming. They're programmed to make you lose. So, yes, of course, slot machines, but they've always been fixed. They always pay out 97%. They always used to say, or 95. Now it's probably 50%. Because all these casinos have to pay rent. So it's not much different than the options. The banks had to get out of their options, and the casinos have to come up with money to pay rent. So they're really fucked. Anyway, that's what we need to know, right? So anything that is computerized, I would not play with. Fortunately, poker, video poker, I've got to be very careful with. That's, I know, rigged, where you're not going to win a lot. So I only play real poker with the real people and a dealer who's neutral, basically. And you just make sure you tip the dealer. Because if you can't do the deck, you want them to do it on your side. I used to do that when I played blackjack. I'd bet for the dealer, just in case the dealer could throw me a 21 and they would win themselves. You wanted them on your side. You didn't want them against you. Oh, I'm going to throw you 12 and I'm going to get 21, right? So that's what you're looking at. Yes, all this AI stuff is very dangerous. I avoid. It's to get your information. I'm seeing all these AI videos that Mr. Fuji, the AI guy, I mean, it's totally AI. And, I don't want to really listen to AI. All AI is a collection of data. So there's all this data in there, and AI kind of takes the data. We don't know if it's good, bad, or ugly, but that's what they do. My contention is if I'm working and I got all my football data, I already have it. So if I want, I can just do a formula in Excel and pull my data out. I don't need AI to do it. In other words, give me the last 5 years of Denver as a home favorite. I got all that information. I want to pull it up. I know it's accurate. I don't want AI to pull it up because I don't know if it's accurate, and I don't want AI to do that for me. I do it for myself. Thank you. But that's all AI does. It gathers data. So when I'm at Mercedes, I could go back the last 2 or 3 years and pull the general ledgers, and I knew the data I was getting was good. But if AI was doing it, I would have no idea, is it good or not? You can't trust AI to be accurate. Anyway, so let's talk money. So we get a paycheck, but you know what? We work, which we don't want to do, but we want to do it because we want to make money. And okay, the money is a medium of exchange, which means we go work and make this. But what we want to do is spend it. The other side of it. And the more money we have, the more things we can buy. We can go on nice vacations. We can eat nice. We can dress nice. We can buy gold and silver. The more amount of this we have, the more fun we can have, the more money we can spend, things like that. So what do? Well, we don't have that much money. We want to get more so we can spend more. That's the logic of money. So we can go get a master's and make more money, but that takes time. What do? So we try to cut our costs. Let's keep our heat on at 63 and let's move to a new apartment that's cheaper. We can do all that. And then there's the investment side of it. Well, I want to make money. I'm going to invest in, I don't know, Apple and Amazon because everybody's in it. Or I'll buy Bitcoin because everybody's in it and I'll make more money so I can spend more. But without understanding what you're investing in. And this is the problem. Then people go into options like in gold and silver and they margin it. Oh, I can control $100,000 of gold with 10,000. Unless the price goes down and I get margin call, and then I got to come up with the money and then I lose everything. But they don't see that side of it. They just see, oh, gold and silver will keep going up, which it should have. If the banks who got greedy said, I'm going to short it, I'll make money shorting it because the price will go down because we're manipulating it. And then BRICS came in and said, no, you're not. And the price really zoomed and then oops. But in normal situations so when we own physical, we really don't get caught with that too often. And you notice it bounces right back because the game's still very low supply, very high demand. The price still goes up. It just took this break for the banks. So we invest to make more money so we can buy more goods because that's how the economy works. You buy things, the more money you have. Take a nice vacation, the more money you have. So that's really what you're looking at. So the more money you have, the more fun you can have. How do I make money? Well, I go to a job. Maybe I run a business. That's my own business, or I invest, or I play poker, or I go to the casino and play blackjack and baccarat and roulette. So I can go to the casino and play, and I won't get taxed on it. I can buy gold and silver. I can buy stocks. I can buy real estate trusts. So there's all these different areas that I can make money at, and that's what I'm trying to do. However, unless you're like me, there's probably 20 people in the world who actually understand all these investment opportunities. Do you really know how to play poker properly? Maybe you understand that. Can you win at blackjack and craps? Probably not. Can you win at football betting? Probably not. I'm a rare double. I can get you into gold and silver, poker, and football, a rare triple, where I understand them all thoroughly. But that's how my mind works. I look at a problem and I understand and solve the problem. How do you play roulette? I get it. How do you play poker? I get it. How do you play football? I get it. And if I lose, I figure out why. So I'm a very strong problem solver. And that's what you need to do these things. Can I problem solve stocks? Certainly. And I know not to play them because they're fixed. So I've determined, well, you can't run in real estate trust because people aren't going to pay because anybody can get a mortgage, and that's wrong. Can I go into the stock market? Well, those are manipulated by JP Morgan, and everybody jumps into Apple and Amazon and Tesla and Microsoft. But I understand how you value a company by looking at their financial statement and figuring out what the true value of the company is. If the value is 100 and the stock's going for 300, I don't want to buy it. You shouldn't buy a stock with a high PE ratio either, price to earnings. If the price is too high, you don't want to be in it because it's not worth it, right? The company's worth 10 and the stock's selling for 30. You probably don't want to buy that $30 stock because this company's only worth 10. So you understand how to value stocks and you realize it's a fixed game. So I don't play those. I did day trade gold stocks because I saw that 10 o'clock drop and then about 10:30, 10:40, it goes back up. So I would wait. And then as it started going up, I let it go up a little bit. Then I'd buy. That's as close as I came to buying stocks was a fixed gold and silver, just gold, a fixed gold price that would go down at 10 o'clock every day, and then wait for the bounce back because it was fake. And that's how I bought stock. That was it. That's my, I think I bought Coke and Pepsi a little way back when, but once I got through my master's program, no. And then I bought sports cards, collectibles. Well, what did I do there? I problem solved. Hey, we don't want to buy 90-91 hoops in Skybox and get Michael Jordan at $2. We want to get Montana and Jerry Rice rookies and Elway rookies. And all the 1960s baseball and Pete Rose and Sandy Koufax, Mantle, Mays, Hank Aaron. Yeah, those are really where the best players were. So I went and bought those, knowing that they had strong demand and they had to be limited because you couldn't reprint. They have reprints like in 2005 of these cards, but what was the point of that? You didn't need the reprint. I wanted the original. So you have that. So again, why I'm in sports cards? Because you can make money, but you have to problem solve how. John C. Now the cars are AI. They track your car now. Well, I think they're putting kill switches on them, but I don't really care if I'm going to Kroger's, so they know I'm going to Kroger's. If I drive to the airport, okay, they know I went to the airport. They can see if I flew. If I go fly to Germany and meet Jenna in Berlin, okay, fine. I go there and I meet her. And so what? She's my friend and I'm meeting my friend. What? So I don't get the big deal. Now, I don't like the kill switch, but again, how often are they going to do that? Can I turn off the kill switch? Or do I just stay in my 2018 Camry for the next 10 years and tell them all the fuck off, right? TK, someone said they got $1 million from a Monster Energy stock they bought years ago and it was cheap. I think that drink is terrible for you. Yeah, all those energy drinks are terrible for you. A lot of sugar. Well, if you bought it at $5, why didn't you sell it when it was going up? So if you bought it and forgot about it, or your dad bought it, there was this movie, Frozen in Time or something, with the guy. I can't think of his name. I don't know. The guy was in The Mummy. I never liked him. Anyway, so they think there's a bomb that goes off, and they live in the bomb shelter under their house for 30 years. And then they come out. There was no bomb that hit. But he's got all these really good baseball cards that he thought were worthless. And he stumbles into a baseball card shop. And the guy is like, oh, my God, you got Yogi Berra, like rookie cards. And they never mentioned Mantle, but he had all these rare cards that thought were worthless, but were worth a ton. But that's because he was in a fallout shelter for 30 years and came up and realized that the cards he had were worth a lot more than he thought. But, that happens. But it's like Bitcoin. You bought it at $5. Why didn't you sell it when it hit 10? I don't know. When it hit 1,000, why didn't you sell it? Oh, it's just going to go up. Then you're really stupid if this is your thought. If you buy something for, let's say, $500 and it hits 5,000 and you're not selling it, you don't know what you're doing. You think you're smart. Hey, look, what's it at? 78,000 the other day. So you think you're smart because you bought it at 500. It's at 78,000. Yeah, you're an idiot. You should have sold it at 5,000 and made your profit. You buy it, you take your profit. You don't leave it in there and then, oh, look how smart I am. Now it's at 100,000. Look at how smart. No, you're an idiot. It shows how stupid you are by doing that. Brendan Fraser. Yeah. Yeah. He was in the movie with the strange Christopher Walker was the father. And and he had all these cards, but again, that was a fluke because they were in the shelter. They couldn't really go out and spend them, but then they turn in. And then he had all these stocks like AT&T and Kodak, and he had all these shares, and then they had gone way up. So unless you're in an air raid shelter, you're probably an idiot for holding it like that. But anyway, so this is what you're trying to do. So you invest to get more dollars to spend. Some people get it to save, but mostly you get it to spend. In gold and silver, I don't want you to spend. I want you to hold, because we're nowhere near where the price is going. The price is going up far greater. And that's really the key to it. So that's really the point. So of our options, we must understand why we're buying it, why we think they'll go up, and why we think they'll go down, and why is it a good investment. Most people in the stock market have no idea what they're doing. They just fall backwards into, I'll buy Apple, and then everybody buys Apple as a fluke. It's only those 4 or 5 stocks that are doing anything. And therefore, why are you in it? It's way overvalued. You don't know. Well, I'm making money because that's the game, isn't it? I'm supposed to make money. Oh, then I got to pay taxes on stocks and real estate trusts. Real estate trusts, I'm supposed to make 8% a year on them because everybody pays their mortgage except for when they don't, and then you lose $60,000. Poker, well, you can get burned. Hard game, especially Hold'em. I think Hold'em's one of the worst games. It's all luck. I got pocket aces, you got pocket kings. I should win every time. You get the third king, or you hit a straight or a flush on me. That's just luck. That's not skill. There's no skill in that game. What kind of skill is there? Maybe you bluff me out. Is that a skill? Okay. That might work once or twice. I'm going to slow play you, though. You're going to make the bet, and I got a full house, and I'm just going to keep bluffing me, and then I'm going to get you. Because I'll check with a great hand, and I'll check with shit hands, and you don't know what I'm doing. Again, you don't know what my cards are, and I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to give you a tell. So it's tax-free. Gambling's pretty much tax-free unless you're in a tournament in Vegas and you make $100,000 in the tournament, then you're going to pay tax on it. But if you're just playing normal cash games, you make $5,000 here, $10,000 there, you're not paying tax on it. It gets you into gold and silver. Why? Because the fundamental problem that most people are missing by doing the investing is the dollar's worthless. So it fundamentally takes you out of real estate trust and stocks and even gambling. It sort of takes you out of it unless you gamble to buy gold and silver like I do. Football betting, we figured it out. We can pick 70, 75%. But again, the dollars, when you win gambling, you must put into gold and silver. You can't keep a lot of money, right? Because this isn't worth anything. So if you win $50,000, you have to trade it into gold and silver because it's not worth anything. So we have that. Anyway, that's really what you're doing. But now we understand that the dollar is worthless. So everything must get funneled into gold and silver. But you got to do physical, not paper, not options, not derivatives, not margin. That's the wrong way to do it. The right way is to go to the store and buy it. And now the problem is I'll have to go to my store today. It's very limited. They don't have much. And then the price is going up. So they gave you a reprieve by knocking the price down a little bit. We're waiting for it to go back up, which it will. Again, we're looking at $10,000 gold, and we're looking at least $500 silver until it gets to $1,000. So we're looking at $1,000 silver, $10,000 gold. And there's no chance that's not happening. Why? Because it's very limited and very high demand, and the dollar is worthless. So most people don't get the dollar's worthless, so we have a big advantage over everybody. But again, why do we invest? Because we want more money to go have more fun. We want to go on a nicer trip. We want to buy a boat. We want to buy a nicer car. So we need more money for it. So the motivation is to gamble, But people don't understand stocks, you're gambling, real estate trust, you're gambling, obviously casino, you're gambling, football, you're gambling, poker, you're gambling. Putting your money in the bank is a very high risk right now because the bank will keep your money just like they just did. So don't be surprised. Here comes JP Morgan. Oh, you can't have your money out or in the stocks. Even if you're in the stocks, they're overvalued. They're going to correct and they're going to go down. Now, that's the last barrier. Trump thinks a good stock market means a good economy, which he's wrong. So, but that's why we do it. The problem is how many people understand what they're doing, which is why I'm here to explain to you. So I teach you football, so you should be able to bet football based on what I'm teaching. We teach you money management, so you know how to bet it and how much to bet. We teach you poker, so if you go play, you can win at it and get money. Stocks are a fixed game. You're not going to win at it very rarely. You might win a little bit, but eventually the market will crash. 1929, 1987, 2000, 2008, and 2026. The market will crash and you're blindsided by it. Here you think you're making money and you're not. So keep that in mind. You think you're making money, but you don't know. And you don't know anything about stocks except for how to value the company. But even then, it doesn't really help you because it's an auction. Stocks are eBay, right? Depending on, let's everybody go into Amazon, and then let's say nobody goes into Apple. Well, Apple could be worth more, but they're not getting, their stock is not going anywhere, right? And so you can be in stocks that are worth a lot, but their market value is down, their stock value is down, they're not getting up to their market value. Real estate trusts are just people paying their mortgages and you get a piece of it. Boring, but if people stop paying their mortgages, then you get fucked there. Otherwise, you make 7-8%. Whoop-de-doo. You're better off. So holding gold and silver, it's the need for people needing gold and silver. That's the key. So the people who need it, now we've got manufacturers who need silver and solar panels and all this bullshit. And then as the dollar goes out, people like us needing silver. And there's not enough supply out there. And you can't create supply. So therefore, that's the whole key to it, creating the supply. So once you've got that, then everything's fine. And that's where you're at. You're at that right now where we've got to get into gold and silver. Now, can you still do the other things? Stocks, you're going to report, you're going to pay 1099 on. So what you make minus the tax. Bitcoin, you're going to pay 1099 on. It's not even real. You don't even know why you own it except for it goes up. Now it went up to 100, went up to 120. Now it's 79, 78. Well, let's see where it is right now. But again, it's fixed. It's not real. And what can you do with it? Let's see. So we got silver 88.53 up a nice healthy 11. And 49.71. We're approaching 5,000. We're past the 10 o'clock. We just got to get past this noon crap and we'll be fine. But let's look at Bitcoin. So where do we think Bitcoin's at? 75. Did it come back? Why? It didn't get knocked down. Bitcoin's at 76,000. I was pretty close. It didn't bounce back. So now how do you feel about your Bitcoin? You're in it to make money. Do you think you're going to do it? All right, so 49.75. Once we break 5,000, we go back to where we were, about 5,500 in about a week. And this is 88.71. Once we break 90, we'll go back to the 100, to the 110. We've already broken the 100. We've already broken 110. So it's not like it's never been there and there should be this resistance. So that's your Bitcoin, 76,000. Okay, how long do you hold it for? What did you buy it at? What are you waiting to sell it for? Oh, it's going to bounce back to 100. Well, why is it 76? You don't know because you have no idea what you're doing in Bitcoin, or bit as we'll call it. It's not real. When the dollar collapses, it's going to be zero because it's valued in dollars. Gold and silver, we don't need dollars to value it. It is what it is. And whatever the value is, what the value is. So gold will have a value much higher than it is in dollars. And the same with silver. It'll be much higher once the dollar's out of there. Because right now it's valued, silver, let's say it's $90 an ounce. That's in dollars. That's a monopoly money. It'll be much higher in silver than it is in dollars. Your $500,000 house is in dollars. Once it goes to gold, it'll be worth maybe 40,000 gold dollars. And that's a huge difference. Anyway, we can see gold and silver bouncing back because if we let the market run it, it would never have dropped. But it was because of the banks with the bullshit, right? Price fixing it as the only thing banks know how to do is when they fuck up, they try to clean up their own messes, which is just ridiculous. But we ignore that, right? We are just, as I said, nothing changed. The supply is still nothing. The demand is still huge. Everybody and their mother needs silver to make, atomic missiles and fighters and boats and cars and everything else. You need silver. You're going to pay whatever for it. So they're not holding the price down so these idiots can get it, or the military. If anything, it makes the price go up because the demand's there. And again, there's no supply. So we just look at it, and that's where we're at with it. So that's the point. And it's all about taking money to buy more things. That's why we invest. We want more money. We want to buy a bigger car, a bigger boat, take a nice vacation. That's what it's all about. But if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to get fucked. The people who were in gold and silver through options and margin got fucked because they didn't know what they were doing. Did they not think there'd be a margin call? I don't know, but why take the risk? Was the risk really worth it? If I buy physical, I have no risk. I'm going to watch it go up and up and up because the demand's there and there's no supply. And when you get anything with high demand and low supply, you get a higher price. There's no risk at all. As I say, there's no risk in the portfolio. So therefore, why do you want risk? Is it worth your risk to do margin calls? I'm going to control option contracts that have no gold in them? No, that's stupid. Stock market can do the same thing. You got huge risk, and oh, look at all the money I made. Okay, so sell it and take it. No, you won't do it because in your warped mind, you think it'll just keep going up because you have no strategy, right? The thing about football is, all right, we bet the game last week, we won, right? We had the Rams and the Rams over, and it won, and the game's over, and now we get our money back. Now we take our money. All right, we made $1,000. We take our 1,000 now. Now we bet the Super Bowl. You make it, you take it. In the casino, you play for the night, right? So I'm hot at craps. I bring $5,000. I make it 15 grand. Oh, it's time to go home. You take your money and you take your 15 grand out. Now you might keep going back, and then you'll start losing. But it kind of forces you to take it. I'm playing poker. I'm sitting there a few hours. I'm up. I take it and I go. Gold and silver, you just take it and hold it, right? You find a safe, you hold it, and that's it. In stocks, you never get out of it. In Bitcoin, you never get out of it. You think it's going to go up forever. It's never going to go down. You can't explain why Bitcoin goes up. It's limited to 21 million. Yeah, I got a 101 Steve Eiserman card. That's limited. I got 50 count, 25 count Barry Sanders cards. Those are limited. Having a $21 million bit that's not even real is not limited. It's limited when you compare it to dollars when there's 150 trillion of them out there. But why are we comparing them to dollars? You need to compare them to gold and silver or to other things. So you have to know is why are you in it and how and at what point do you get out? Now in gold and silver, there is no out point because it's just going to keep running because of the demand and supply. The supply is not going to grow, the demand keeps growing, and we're all doing it because the dollar is worthless. So this is the key. Once you understand this part of it, you get into gold and silver because this is worthless and that keeps going up in value. And the more people that realize the Titanic sinking, the more people run into the lifeboat, gold and silver. Well, that hasn't even started yet. It's a little bit. They're starting to come out with, instead of 60-40, Goldman Sachs, gold and silver are now doing 60-20-20, where you're in stocks, 20% in the bonds and 20% in the gold and silver. So even that is making the demand go up, plus the regular demand. And then plus people who figure it out will come here and I figure it out for you. And you go, oh, I need to buy gold and silver, which I hear all the time here. And so once people figure that out, then they go. So that's really the key, is understanding why you're in it. Now, we're not selling because the dollar, there's nowhere to go for us. So if you're betting football or you're playing poker or you're even in stocks and real estate trust or Bitcoin, the exit strategy is go buy gold and silver. That's why when you're in Bitcoin, if you're lucky or stupid enough to buy it at $10 and now it's worth 76,000, you get out of it in the gold and silver. Now the people that bought it at 100,000 or 120, they're losing their ass. Now it's down to 76. You're getting killed and it's going down. It's not a bounce back like gold and silver. The banks forced the down in gold and silver. They didn't force the down in Bitcoin. That's independent. That's going down because people probably need to sell to cover their shorts in gold and silver, or they lost money in gold and silver and they're pull their Bitcoin money out. People pull their assets when they need money. So Bitcoin, I don't see coming back. I don't see why it's at the value it's at. You can't tell me why the value is at. You can't even tell me what it really is because it's air. So that's really the key to it is that, again, you have to, it's an investment. You're playing poker. You have to have a strategy. Okay. I made money. My strategy worked. Then you got to understand when you quit. People don't understand me at the table. They go, I quit a winner. It might be $25. They don't understand that. I don't get this quitting a winner thing. Well, it means I didn't lose. What's so hard about it? I started with 300. I got 325. I leave. I didn't lose the three because the game's hard enough and it's all luck that I can have pocket kings and lose to a pair of sixes because they hit a third six or they hit a straight or flush on me. And that's going to happen all the time. So you're going to lose a lot. So I quit before that happens to me. And if I make 25 or I make 250 or I make 2,500, it doesn't matter. If I don't lose the three I started with, it's a good day. That's more money I can buy gold and silver because that's the means to the end. The end is the gold and silver. The means is getting out of that. So that's what you gotta understand. Who's this, D? Yeah. Lisa. Who's Lisa? I don't understand this. I said all of a sudden I get a text on Telegram. I don't know who this person is. So I end up blocking them. So anyway, that's the strategy you must have. You must think like that. You don't buy it. The only thing I'm buying and holding is gold and silver because I have to go back to the dollar. But you have to understand the dollar's worthless. Everything else you go into, stocks, Bitcoin, gambling, the end is to then buy gold and silver. That's the end of it, right? That's why you do it. And again, you do it because you want to buy more things because the money is worthless, losing value. Yeah, I can go on a trip. I can go to Hawaii. I can go, I used to be able to go to Vegas. I can go to Hawaii. I can go to Florida and have a nice trip. And, that's fine. That's so then, okay. So I took my money for that. I need more money. I'm at work taking more money and off I go. But the extra money needs to go into gold and silver now because if you leave it in dollars, you're dead. So you have to understand that. That's the big concept to understand. The dollar is worthless. But how do you know the dollar is worthless? Because they keep printing it. They print the shit out of it. You got Trump printing trillions of dollars every month. He's got to pay the interest on the debt. He's got to pay Medicare, Social Security. He's got to pay all the employees that there's no money for because the government doesn't make money. They have no revenue. Taxes are not a revenue. So you have to pay all of these and the defense contractors. So you've got all this money going out. You don't have money coming in because you're not a business. And this is the biggest problem with government. They're not a business, but they want to have all these employees. How the hell do you pay for them? Then they got to pay pensions. And then the worst part is all these employees are corrupt and take money from the defense contractors and do things that's not in their best interest. It's in the defense contract. So they shouldn't even be there. So this is your problem. So do you think the dollar is going to get stronger or weaker if they keep printing it when they don't have it? They didn't earn it. So if we own, like I say, the ice cream shop and we make, $1,000 a week, we can have enough employees that we can pay like $950 a week to the employees with the idea we pay for the employees with profits. That's why you see all these companies laying off because they can't afford the employee. They can't pay them because their earnings are down. There's somebody else who just laid off 30,000 workers. And so that's a big problem. So we understand that. So again, the government has no revenue. They can't afford any workers, and yet they have massive amount of workers. And my friend at the DOD's laid off again without pay. So they got to keep printing money, and you can only do it for so long. It's like eating an ice cream every day or chocolate cake. You can only eat it so long until you get diabetes and you get sick and you have a stroke and you die because it's too much sugar in your body. Your body can't handle it. So there's only so much you can do. And that's what you got to realize. So there's only so much money you can print until it's gone, right? So that's really what you're trying to hold on to, is that the dollar is worthless and they keep printing it and it doesn't help the value. The dollar can't get stronger. I don't care who the Fed chairman is, if it's this Joe Blow guy or whatever, can't do anything because you still have all these expenses, and he's not going to lay off all these government employees. He's the Fed chair. He's not, even Trump is struggling doing it. So again, you can't do that. You can't. Most of these guys are Keynesians, don't understand the dollar's worthless anyway. So you're dealing with idiots running the country. So anyway, that's the key, and that's what we know, and that's our advantage. We know that's happening. We know the dollar's worthless. So we look around, and the only protection is gold and silver. So we go to the gold and silver. But all these other investments aren't gold and silver: football betting, poker, blackjack, stocks, real estate trust, Bitcoin. They're not gold and silver. So we have to make money at it. So if I was in Bitcoin, all of a sudden I had a stupid pill and I got in it at $5 like all you guys, and then it went up to, if it went to 100,000. So let's say I'm in it like you guys. I'm in it at what, 500, and it's now 76,000. We just saw. I'd be selling. Let's say I had 5 coins. I'd be selling 4 of them, taking the profit and putting it into gold and silver while I still can. Because it doesn't do me any good to stay in Bitcoin because the money's worthless and Bitcoin's not real, but the money, there is no such thing as a Bitcoin. So it's not like, so silver will have its own value. I don't need dollars to have a value in silver. What's a Bitcoin? You can't even see it. But when the dollar goes away, what's a Bitcoin worth? And I knew my friend says it's worth a Bitcoin. Well, okay, that means it's worth nothing because it's not real. And that's the problem you have. So if you had any brains at all, you would sell your Bitcoin and buy gold and silver if you can find it, which you're struggling to find now. Forget the price. You've just made this money in Bitcoin. So you have the money. You just buy me as much as I can for Bitcoin and gold. And that would be the key. So that's really what you're trying to do, is buy as much as you can, because that is the one thing with value. The gold and the silver, a Rolex, the Mantle card, a Picasso, or my Van Gogh over here. That's what you want to get into, because you've got to get out of this paper fantasy that you're in. But how many people realize that? Besides my class, nobody. I don't hear Andy Scheckman talk about it. I don't hear Alligator talk about it. Even Egon, he says get into gold and silver, but he doesn't really say everything else is worthless. So you have to realize anything else you're in, you're going to lose everything because it's priced in dollars. The money in the bank, the banks will keep it. The money in the stock market, the JP Morgan will keep it. The real estate trust will go to zero, and your Bitcoin will go to zero because it has no value. So all this is all different floors than the Titanic. It still ends up at the bottom of the ocean, except us in the gold and silver lifeboat. We're the ones that don't go into the bottom of the ocean, which is why I use that a lot as an example. So that's really the key to it, is understanding why you're doing it in the first place is because you want to take a nice trip and you want to buy nice things. And, that's really the key to it. And then you go from there, where you're looking at you're looking at everything, right? So you're well protected in gold and silver. In physical, you can't really lose. What happened the last 2 days was all about options and getting leverage calls, which can happen in physical. So anybody in physical didn't get hurt at all. Yeah, we lost a little. Our silver was 120. It's now 89. Okay, we get that, but that's fine. And I think we'll see, today's Tuesday. I think by Friday, you'll see probably $100 silver and gold at 5,200 or so. And keep in mind, gold only got to 5,600. So where it did drop 700-800, it's making most of it up. And again, once we get back into the 5,000s, we're on our way to 6 to 8 to 10. I mean, it'll just keep going because the demand's there and the supply is gone. So we understand that fundamental thing. So I tell you to go into other areas where there's like that. I tell you uranium's like that. Very, very limited, very, very highly demanded based on these nuclear power plants. So the more of those things you can find, you want a little bit of money there. But as it goes up, you take your profit, you pull it into gold and silver because that's the real money. Now, I'm not saying we never sell our gold and silver. We never sell all of it. So if you have 100 ounces of gold, you're not selling all 100 ounces, never. You might sell an ounce or two to take a vacation. I mean, as it gets higher, now it's 10,000 an ounce. Hey, I sell an ounce for 10 grand. That's a pretty nice vacation because the prices won't go up because the market still determines what the prices can be. You want to make steak $40, ain't nobody going to buy it. So you got to keep your steak price down between $15 and $20 to have anybody buy it. So they will stay as your gold goes up to 10 grand. The steak doesn't go up to 10 grand. So that's where you're really going to make a lot of money. But you got to understand that. So that's why we buy physical. And then we sell an ounce here and then go on a nice vacation, buy nice things. You can buy a hell of a lot more as the gold goes up. So, there's the panic of the people who don't know what was happening, that it's going to go to zero or it's going to go to 100 or 1,000. And it was never, did I ever mention that? No, because I knew it wouldn't. It would just keep, it would go and find its point. And when we found it at 7,700, 7,800 for silver, or 77 for silver, and then we found it at about 44 or 4,500 in gold, but then it started bouncing back. So today's a nice, healthy bounce back. Tomorrow will be all the way through Friday. You've had your fun. You've lowered it to get out of your options, but you're not going to lower it now. You might still play this option game at $5,000 gold to 4,900 or whatever, but you think you'd learn your lesson and not play these stupid options anymore. So we'll see. But that's what money is. It buys things. That's the medium of exchange. Adam Smith. You make money based on the division of labor, is how much money you make, and then you take the money and buy things. And we are people that like to buy. So we buy food and clothes and vacations and everything else. So that's what we're looking to do, is buy, but we want to make more money to have what we conceive a better life if you have more money, which I'm not really sure why you would think that. Um, just because you have more money does not necessarily give you a better life. It gives you what you might think is an easier life, but then you run into, what do I do with my money? And oh, I have a friend. You date a girl. Oh, she only wants my money. She's in it. She wants my money. That's why she's dating me. And then you have those type of problems. Can I trust the people? Is my money safe? It's in a. So you try to keep your money safe and all that. Anyway, that's what you're looking at. So you're trying to go, but we're in the safest place we can be. Physical gold and silver, you really shouldn't get hurt much with it, and that's it. But again, money itself is the most demand. Like, they used to have tulips, but what happened? There was a frost and the tulips died. How did I buy things? Well, not me, but I mean, how did the people buy things if the tulips were dead and they didn't have tulips? So it evolved where it used to be cows and it used to be seashells, until we finally said, hey, why don't we make it money? Now, the Romans had it where this was actual money, silver and gold on the Appian Way, based on weight. The difference in weight would buy you more and less. So they actually came out with it, but that was just Rome, and they could have that. And they paid their soldiers 1 ounce of gold for the year. That's how valuable gold was. So we ended up coming to this because that was the most convenient and what was most desired as money, is these bills. The problem is the governments get involved and print them and print, hey, we want to spend more also. And so they are very greedy, and their point is to get into gold and silver, or to avoid gold and silver because they can't print it. So they get into money so they can just print it. Print me $1 billion. So you have all these billionaires, but they're really not worth anything because the billion's not worth anything. And that's really what the key is. So again, we're in money because we want to buy things. We've chosen dollars as money because it's the most convenient way to carry it. We've come up with credit cards and debit cards because it's even more convenient than to carry the dollar, but you still need the dollar to pay them off. Debit cards only work if you have money in your bank account. If you don't, you can't use it. Credit cards are a loan you use, and you can do that. Like, I had to pay renew my driver's license. Got 4 years, flies. That was only $18. It cost me $118 to redo my license tab. What's wrong with that picture? $118 for tabs to register my car. It's crazy. So anyway, that's kind of what you have. So that gives you an understanding. And so if you do gamble, well, you do gamble, but if you're in a casino versus football versus poker versus stocks, real estate trust, bonds, keep in mind it's in dollars, Bitcoin. They're all in dollars, and you need to convert them into gold and silver. You need a price of I'm in it, and then when it hits this price, all right, I'm in a stock at 100 and it goes to 150. All right, I'm going to sell half the stock and I'll keep a little bit more in. And if it keeps going up, great. If it goes down, I've taken my profit. And that's what I suggest. And that money you take out goes right into gold and silver. And if you need it, you sell an ounce or two. But meanwhile, you realize the dollar is the enemy. This is worthless. This is worthless. These have no value. So you realize those are the enemy. And that's the key. So if you realize they're the enemy, why do you want to be in them? You don't. So the longer you're in Bitcoin or stocks or any of this, the bigger your risk, because it's falling. And just like they couldn't contain the silver and the gold price, and they went way up, and then they had to do this little Ponzi scheme to knock it down with all these margin calls. Is the same thing here. At one point, they won't be able to hold the stock market from crashing. They won't be able to control Bitcoin from crashing, and they won't be able to control the dollar from crashing. At the end, the market wins, and at the end, the market won't allow the government who thinks they can control that they can't. That's why I tell you we need free markets. You can't price fix things. The government cannot control things. It has to be left to the market, which is us. And if we all dump our stocks, the stock market's crashing. If we all dump our dollars, the dollar crashes. They can't control that, yet they want to. So that's what we're looking at. That's what we just saw happen these last couple of days, where it went to 120, and they're trying to control the price of gold and silver at 120, at 5,600. They're trying to control that, keep that price down, and they can. And now it's rebounding right back up. And there'll be more margin calls, I guess. I don't know. Every week we'll do a margin call. I was told there was 8 margin calls in 8 weeks, which has never been done before. That shows you there's no control of it now. It's going, gone. Keep that in mind. John C. Who 2K? Who what? What? I don't get it. What are you saying? So that's really what you're trying to handle that. You're trying to understand that we're the market, which means we buy and we sell. We control prices by what we buy and what we sell. Prices are an indicator of what we buy and what they sell. They want to make tuna fish $10 a can. They're not going to sell any because we won't allow it. We'll pay. Right now, it's like the big can is like $4.70 or something, and the little can's like $2. Okay, you can get away with that, even though you've made them smaller, because we like tuna and we want to open a can and eat it because we're tired of eating the other stuff. But I got to go make hamburgers when we're done here. So I have dinner. TK, should I date a gold digger? Well, it depends what she does for you and how pretty she is. But if she only wants your money, I wouldn't. You might trade for something with an understanding. I'll buy you dinner, and and you do X and Y for me. It's got to be a free trade and it's got to be a fair trade. So at what price do you pay for things? What was that? At what price do you pay for things is really the question. So in other words, you're always paying for a woman's company. You might be buying them dinner. or jewelry, uh, and then you get sex in return, let's say, even though it's not an escort. Uh, if you want sex, you're pretty much going to pay for it in different ways. But that's really the key to it. It's how much is it, and what do you get for it? So if it's a fair trade, you would do it. But don't kid yourself. Every girl is a gold digger because the mentality of women is safety and protection. I'm with you because you protect me, not only physically, but emotionally and monetarily. Help me pay rent, help me with food, take me to dinner, and then you get sex for it. So, in effect, they're all gold diggers, but it's their nature. The woman's nature is protection. That's how they were brought up. That's how it's been in history, where the women can't really do. They couldn't vote. They really didn't have a skill set. They were basically the mother to take care of the kids. And without you, they're going to starve and die. So they need you to protect them and take care of them. And all they know is, well, okay, we'll have sex because you're taking care of me. So is that gold digging? Gold digging to me, I think what maybe you're saying is they only want your money and you don't get the sex back. Well, then you would never want that. Uh, as long as it's fair, where you kind of paying for the sex, then I guess it depends how close you are, how much you like each other, and things like that. So I think that's a key to it is what she does for you. But if it's just a gold digger who only wants money and doesn't give you back pleasure, then no, you wouldn't want to be. Well, you wouldn't want to be with anybody who does that. I mean, it could be your brother or your friends. If you go out to dinner and they want you to pay for them, yeah, I probably wouldn't do that. So yeah, that's really the key to it. So depends on the terms of the gold digger. Um, so it all depends, basically. So get good terms and it's okay. You're going to pay him anyway. You're always going to pay him unless she's got a lot of money and not going to ask you for dinner and clothes and perfume and stuff like that. But mostly they want something from you and then they give you something. And that's normally most of human interactions. Um, the Stoic people really don't ask for much, so we don't really want to play that game. That's why we don't have a lot of friends because we don't want people using us. We're smart enough to realize they're using us. So you got to be careful with that. So why, John C., do you have a gold digger that wants to date you? And how much gold does she want to dig from you? So really, that's the key to it. It's how much do they want? Can you afford it? So it depends on your availability, and then what do you? It's got to be a two-way street. If the girl only wants to I dated a gold digger once, but she wouldn't have sex with me, but she wanted the money. So I told her to fuck off. I mean, you're benefiting, but I'm not. So what's the point of the relationship? I never understood the girl like that. Really? So I take the spam and I block the spam instead of just turning it off. Um, so yeah, I mean, women are not complicated. They want to be taken care of. They want food and shelter, and they'll give you sex for it. So it's a fair trade-off. Um, and then that's the point, right? As long as everything works all right and you get along and everything's good and she's pretty and she makes you laugh, she's good to be with, then yeah, you're going to pay for it. um, that's just normal. But that's how men and women are. We kind of make the money and we will take care of them, but we expect things back. As long as that's equal, then you go get married because she's pretty and she wants to be taken care of by you. And some girls trade up. They like you, but here's this guy over here who makes more money. So I can gold dig him better than I can gold dig you. And when that happens, this is why you have multiple girlfriends. Because if that's why they're with you, they'll find somebody who makes more money who they can be with. And they don't care about you. They just wanted your money. So hence you have 2 or 3 girls that you like being with, and then you maybe make up your mind, but they have multiple guys because they need protection and they need money, and that's just the nature of the game. Once in a while, they just want to be with you, then okay. And then maybe they won't leave you for the guy who has $1 million. Or they'll do what they do, where they'll screw the politicians who have all this money and just use them and blackmail them and saying, well, I'm going to tell everybody you were with me unless you pay me. And that's when you get the blackmailers. So John C., it depends how much and how pretty and what does she do for you. And if she does for you, then that's fine. Again, it's always about money. Everybody needs it. That's the problem with money is everybody needs it to live on. You need to eat, you need a place to live and all that. So it's a very it's a very disingenuous thing. I don't even know if that's a word, but it's you need it to eat. It's freedom, basically. Money's freedom. Our way by buying gold and silver. So what happens is we buy gold and silver and we watch our money go up in value. And we know we can't lose. There's no risk in the portfolio. If we need, we sell an ounce of silver or gold or whatever. But the problem is these people that don't know what they're doing. They'll bet football and lose thousands of dollars. They'll play Bitcoin and never sell. They'll play the stock market and they'll lose because you always lose in the stock market. They'll play poker and they lose. So the people gamble that don't know what they're doing end up losing their money, and then they can't eat and pay rent and stuff like that. And that's the problem with people who don't know what they're doing, like here, who just got killed playing options in gold and silver instead of playing physical in gold and silver. So all the option players got burnt, and now they're hurting. They don't have money. They've lost a lot of money. How much money did we lose? Absolutely none. Yeah, the value of our silver went down to, let's say, 79, but now it's back to 89, right? So it jumped back. So we didn't really lose. We didn't sell it, and now it came back up, and it doesn't matter. We bought it at $20, $25 an ounce, so that's okay. So really, that's what happened. It really didn't affect us because we didn't need to come up with money. The people who played on margin and had to then put in another 10 or 20 grand to cover their margin or lose their positions, those are the ones that lost because they didn't understand the game. People that play poker and lose. I quit a winner, even if it's $25. People will play and lose their 300. I see that all the time. They'll sit down with 300 and they lose it all. And then they might go get 300 more and lose that all. They lose $300, $600, $900. Most I lose is 300. And even then, if I'm having a bad day, I usually leave before I go to zero. I might lose $200. That's why if I start with 3, and even if I make 25, I don't lose the 3. And that helps pay the times I lose 200. So again, if you don't know what you're doing in the stocks, you never sell and take your profit. Your money in the bank's going to zero. Your stocks, you got to sell and take your profit. Bitcoin, you got to sell and take your profit. You can't just be in it and not taking your profit. So with that, that's the point. That's really what you're looking at. So that's the key to it is understanding the game so you don't lose, because you're trying to make money, but if you don't know what you're doing and you play and you lose, you've done worse. Now you don't have the money, and you played craps or blackjack or poker and you lost, or you bet football and you lose. Uh, Me, I've never had a losing year in football. I started when I was like 9 years old, 1968, 69. Every year I figure it out, and by the end, I'm winning, just like this year. A few bad weeks in the beginning, thinking teams were different than they were. Then once I understand, hey, we need to bet Jacksonville, we need to bet New England, we need to bet Denver, and we need to get off of these, get off the Lions, get off Minnesota, then it made it, then we win. But we figured that out after 3 or 4 weeks. Anyway, so that's really the key to it. But everything I do, I win at. If I don't win at it, I don't do it. That's why I don't play stock market and I don't play Bitcoin. I don't know how you play Bitcoin. I don't know what you're expecting. I don't know when you quit and take your profit. So most people are in there. I mean, oh, it's just going to go to 1 million, and I'm going to, and I'll never sell it. And eventually, it's going to go to zero, and you're going to lose all that money that you could have been putting into gold and silver and not leaving it into Bitcoin. So again, be careful what you're playing, but you must have strategy to get out of it. And I try to tell you, as you're winning, you take profits. If you do that every time, if you're playing poker and you get up $500, you can't pull 250 off the table physically, but you can in your mind. You can take 250 and put it on this side, and then you play out this 250, and I'm going to win 250. I tried doing that. I tried to like lock up my winnings, and they said you can't take it off the table, and I said, why not? So I was 300, I got up to like 700, so I'm going to take 5 off the table and play the 2, and they wouldn't let me. So apparently you can't take your money off the poker table. Now you can put it to one side and just never use it, but you can't take it off. So I think shortly after I just left and said, fine, I'll win 400. See you later. You can do that with other like blackjack and craps and baccarat. You can kind of pull the money away and just play, whatever you have. So it's just important to learn how to lose and how to stop losing. All I'm going to play is 200-300. Understand the game so you don't get like surprised. Oh, I didn't know there'd be margin calls, or Bitcoin. I didn't know it could go down, or stocks. I didn't know it could go down. So that's your point. That's really what you're looking at, and that's the object. So understand your game is the key, and then quit a winner is very important, so you don't lose. If you lose $10,000 playing poker, you're fucked. That's why you got to be very careful and understand what you're doing. And quitting a winner is critical. And then the winnings you buy gold and silver with, because you can't stay in the dollar. Because even if you do win and you leave it in this, well, I got 100 grand in the bank. You're still screwed because this isn't worth anything. And that's the real final issue, is that the money isn't worth anything. So once you figure that out, that the money's worthless, which I'm telling you, once you know that, then anything that you gamble with, as I said, casino, poker, football, stocks, Bitcoin, once you understand that, you do take your profits. It's important to take your profits, and then you put it into gold and silver. You don't leave it in dollars. If you do that, you'll be very successful. When the dollar collapses, you're going to say, in gold and silver, it won't collapse, can't collapse. They tried it in the last 2 days, but there's too much demand. It's BRICS, and basically BRICS is our friend, and their demand is keeping the gold and silver price up. So understand that. Anything else? So Super Bowl, I got 30-10, maybe 23-13. I think Seattle. I'm betting Seattle's defense, not Darnold, and I'm betting Kenneth Walker. We'll see if Smith the Jumbo is any good. I don't buy Drake May. He runs too much. I think he won't be able to. He'll get a little bit of running in against Seattle, but the running only works part of the way. Once you're inside the 30, the running doesn't work. So anyway, keep an eye on that. I think Seattle's got a good defensive coach, so they won't get fooled too much. New England, Vrabel, very good defensive coach. So I think you'll see a low-scoring Super Bowl. It could get close at the end. Like I said, it could be down 10, cut it to 3. We'll see. I don't think there'll be a blowout. Even 30-10, maybe. If May throws a lot of picks. But otherwise, yeah, maybe 23-13. How about that? But it'll be low scoring. Anyway, all these coaches getting hired, they'll all get fired in a year or two. The guys they're replacing with are just a joke. There really isn't any good coaches, and they all want to have offensive, sign offensive coaches. Just sign offensive coordinators. The head coach doesn't do anything. Look at Dan Campbell. It was all his offensive coordinator. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't know anything. So once so why are you even hiring a head coach? Just hire an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator and sign them to a 5-year contract. If the Lions would have signed Ben Johnson to a 5-year contract, made him co-coach, offensive coordinator, then they would have been in the playoffs this year. Instead, he goes to the Bears to be a head coach, which I don't know why it's a big deal to be a head coach. And then he's the offensive coordinator, basically, and they make the playoffs with fucking Caleb, who stinks. So keep your eye on that. I'm not really into basketball. It's so bad. I can't watch it. Hockey, I have no idea. Once Bobby Orr left, I wasn't a Gretzky fan. Lemieux I liked. Yager I liked. But that's about it. So yeah, I don't buy any cards anymore. Last card I bought was a Mahomes card, 50 count. So it should be worth something. But yeah, I'm not really into the card collecting. I mean, I am into it, but I don't buy any. I don't run to the shows all the time. I go to the gold store now instead of the cards and watch the gold and silver go up. So that's really the key. Anyway, that's really what's going on. So any other questions or comments? Anyway, we're happy to see. Let's see where gold and silver we are to end this class. We've got gold at 49.55 and silver 86.27. So silver's okay. It's hanging in there, up $9 today. And gold 49.54. Gold's making a run right now. So let's see if we can get it to 5,000. Again, you see this little, so now there's like a little noon cut, and silver 86.27 got up to 88. So it's healthy. We'll see over $90 silver by Friday, and we'll see 5,100 gold. It'll break through those two. And that's about it, I think. Any other questions, comments? So what you take away is this is money because we need to buy and sell things. And we need something, so we've chosen money. Digital money doesn't work because it's not real. You can have digital, you can have the internet digital. You can't have digital steaks, and you can't have digital clothes, and you can't have digital money. So anybody trying to sell it, it's just you can't have it. CBDCs, oh, they're trying to control us. It's not even real. I mean, now, will you have to have it? I don't know. I'm not clear because you don't have to have Bitcoin. I don't see the dollar going away because too many people need the dollar for drugs and girls and things like that. That waitresses tips. What are you going to give them? Digital money? Yeah, good luck with that. So if you're trying to tip a cab driver, a door guy, there's too many things you need money for. So I don't see money going away. And that's the first part. And then the second part is, stay away from digital if you can. Now, Social Security, you have to take digital, then I'll take it. And then I'll pay my bills with it. So will the bills be set up to take digital? Like I paid my rent yesterday with my bank account. Will I be able to pay my rent with digital? Don't know. They got to be set up for it. Will they set up for it? I don't know. That's the other problem. Will people take it? They'll be fine with dollars. They're not fine with digital. So we'll see what happens with that. But be careful who you listen to. There's a lot of AI going on YouTube. So be very careful unless we know Egon. I even see our Colonel McGregor. All of a sudden, his voice sounds funny. We got Mr. Fuji AI, where who knows what he's talking about. So just be careful. This AI is very dangerous. I would stay away from it. Let me do it on my own. I don't need AI doing things for me. Then that's a big red flag. And anyway, and with that, I think that'll be it. So it's 12:30 on Tuesday. We're getting our bounce back on gold and silver. It should continue. You've already killed it. So now it's coming back. There shouldn't be too much more chops. And we'll go. Anyway, Super Bowl 30-10, Seattle, maybe 23-13, Seattle. The game stays under, and Seattle will win it. And that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so. All right. Have a great day, everybody. TK, should I date? John C., like I said, it's up to you. It depends what you get for when she digs your gold out. All right. Have a good day, everybody. www.teaserking.com. All right. Take care, everybody.